It was a bright, sunny morning in the April of 2012. I was very confident, fully prepared, and ready for the discussion with my boss. It was one of my best years, and I had few career-defining accomplishments. So the result of the appraisal was very clear in my mind. It was a 5 on a 5. The meeting started. We started reviewing the results against the goals, and there were no surprises. I was just getting curious to hear the final comments from my manager. He shared all his feedback, and then in his conclusion remarks, he told, Karthik, it's very clear you're efficient, focused, and results oriented. It's great. But after a few moments of deafening silence, he continued, but of all my direct reports, you are the least enjoyable to work with. I was taken aback. I did not expect that. Very good morning, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. The year of 2006, I was working with Nokia at that time. Nokia was setting up this new factory in Chennai, and I was a part of a 3-member team in materials management, and we were responsible to procure the parts for the first iconic 1100 shipments. It was a high visible project, and you could imagine the amount of visibility and pressure. It was a greenfield project, and there were lots of unknowns. So whenever there had to be an activity that had to be completed, my manager Anand would call me and my colleague Raj, and he would ask us to go and check the feasibility of something to be completed. So I used to go do my homework and then get back with an answer with regards to the feasibility, a straight yes or no. My colleague Raj had a very interesting way of answering these questions. His answers would be long, sometimes 3 pages long, that I felt was really unnecessary. Over time, I started realizing his answers were well accepted while mine were not. The first shipment was a huge success. There were some challenges which our team diligently identified, and we were seen as a very diligent and a very progressive team. Months passed, and when an opportunity for a materials management position in the Asia Pacific headquarters opened up, my manager Anand chose Raj. Why not me? This was a question that started eating my head. I tried to find answers. Dejected, I decided to move on. I started working for a different multinational, started having bigger responsibilities. Years passed. I was definitely working hard and earned the reputation of being efficient, focused, and results-oriented. You could say I was very happy about the progress I was making, and I was elated. You could even say I was in cloud 9. Until the day I heard this feedback. You are the least enjoyable to work with. It was very difficult for me to digest this feedback. I was very disturbed, I was agitated, and I had sleepless nights. I realized I needed to talk to someone. My old manager, Anand, came to my mind. Anand was glad that I reached out, and he gave me a very patient hearing. He took me back in time and he asked me this question. Have you ever analyzed why your answers were less accepted that compared to that of Raj? I shrugged and said, not really. He told me, your answers were not wrong. He told, I'm sure you did your analysis when you came up with those answers. He said, your straight yes or no answers without the why of the answers gave an impression that you were kind of restricted in a box and you were not very participating. He told me, communication is not just what you say. Equally, if not more important, is how you say it. He made me realize the art of communication calls for choosing the style of communication depending on the situation. I couldn't thank him enough. I started making serious amends to how I approached communication. I started looking for the unspoken word. I tried to incorporate a bit of social talk in my conversations. And I tried to bring the human side in my communications and conversations. Friends, in summary, there are 4 styles of communication. The direct communication style, very good example was what I was doing before. The initiating style of communication, a good example is my manager who emphasized on the importance of relationships. The analytical style of communication, a good example is my colleague Raj, who had explained the why of his answers and made it much more convincing for people. And last is the supportive style. A good example is my ex-manager Anand, who is a patient listener. My biggest learning has been communication is not just what you say, how you say it is equally, if not more important. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.